Dr. Swati, let me know when it has to be started.
Yes, I will. I will do that.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just waiting for a confirmation. If we have gone live, then we can start.
Take.
Yes, we have gone live. Okay, we have gone live.
So we can start. We are good to start then.
Yeah, sure, we can start. Please start now.
Okay, okay. So, good morning, everyone. So, we are resuming the session and we are directly now taking the topic the history of Bartik and embossed leather bags. So, this comes under our today's topic, which is leather. So, now tracing the history of Bartik, the technique of Bartik and embossing used on leather bags.
हाँ,
Dr. Swati, can you please mute yourself?
yeah, sure.
Thank you, thank you. So, this has been a very interesting part of the history that the use of a batik technique and embossing technique on the leather bags. So, this was basically initiated by the family of Rabindranath Tagore. He, along with his wife Pratima Devi, and there was another artist, painter, stalwart. Like Nand Lal Bose. So, three of them basically started with this initiative of using batik and embossing technique on the leather bags. And there's a place close to West Bengal which is called as Shanti Niketan. Many of us are familiar with the name of Shanti Niketan. So from here itself, the this basically this practice was started, and gradually it took it up as a business. So I'll just start up with the introduction of the background of the history of batik and embossed leather bags. So this craft of leather embossing with hand painting was introduced in West Bengal in 1940s. It was first introduced in Shantiniketan, so this place is little far away from West Bengal. It pioneered the craft of making unique leather items, popularly known as Shantiniketan leather. So embossed patterns and batik work on leather were practiced, and they were quite different from the usual leather products. So these three names, Rabindranath Tagore, his wife Pratima Devi, and Nandlal Bose, they basically came together. They involved youth, and they initiated and promoted this skill. So embossed leather work on goat skin has been a specialty of West Bengal. So later, this activity was revived. This practice was revived by daughter-in-law of Rabindranath Tagore, and it finally became the market and most sought-after product. So I feel that many of us will have such leather bags, and either the first one is the embossed one, and the second one is has a batik technique. So these are called as Shantiniketan leather bags, and this is the technique which was started by Rabindranath Tagore, and later this was taken care by his own daughter-in-law. So now it's all about the revival, which we have already talked about it, and the revival was done in the year 1980s. Dr. Swati, if you don't mind, can we just confirm that are things audible on the YouTube? Dr. Swati, are you there?
I'm here. Just give me a moment. I need to click on the links.
Even I'll just check if.
Hmm. Uh, can you say something? Because only then I'll get to know.
Okay, okay. So I can
Yes,
share.
yes, it's here. It's audible.
It's audible, right? Okay, fine, fine. Someone has written in the group also. Okay, so now the high points of this craft. So basically, this craft, for the first time in the history of Indian crafts, the caste barriers were removed. People from all the caste were welcome to work for this craft, to learn this craft, and to earn their livelihood. So this is the first high point of this craft. Second, there was earlier there was a lot of there was discrimination between men and women, but for the first time again in India, both men and women, they were given the equal opportunities for this craft. And then gradually this market started as a domestic market, but gradually the products were exported as well. So initially they were being exported to Japan and Russia only, but in contemporary times, that means present times, they are sold in Spain, Italy, Australia, USA as well. So the aim behind learning this or to together talk about this topic is that leather uh, is in the variety of products. It's not that it's limited to wearable accessories only. So we have the other accessories, and within that also different techniques are also used. So now, West Bengal is renowned for leather craft in the whole world. So again, that's a big title for the Bengal. And Shantiniketan is a region in West Bengal which is known for its elegantly handcrafted leather handbags and other accessories. Dr. Swati, kindly mute yourself. Dr. Swati, kindly. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So now the product which is used to make these bags are, this is the tanned goat skin, and they are completely handmade, and metal dies are used so that the pattern is raised and the embossed effect comes out. The interesting feature about this product is that the more we use this product, the more user is enjoying it, the better colors come out, and the leather keeps becoming softer and softer. So that's the key feature or interesting feature of this specific product. And this started in 1940s, revived in 1960s, 70s, 80s with the effort of daughter-in-law of Rabindranath Tagore. And then when it is about the Bartik, then otherwise we are all aware that Bartik is a resist style of dyeing and printing, and we use wax to resist a particular area. When it comes to resisting the leather for creating such beautiful purses and bags, so the material which is used to resist is called as babool gum, and this is from the tree which is babool tree. And these are popularly known as Shanti Niketan bags. And we have already talked about it that no longer this market is now limited to domestic market only. Now it is spreading. It is outside India as well. Now, leather is a sensitive topic. We all have sensitive heart towards the animals. We have ethical reasons also in some cultures, or as a humanitarian ground also, that for many reasons or on many occasions we don't want to use leather. So we have now carried forward this thought. We have come up with many substitutes of leather. When we say substitute, so the appearance is similar, the texture is similar, right? And even the utility is similar. But yes, it is a substitute. It's no longer a skin of any animal. So under this, we are going to talk about few of the substitutes only. Otherwise, when we explore, when we research, there are many other types of leather alternatives or substitutes available in the market. So the first is pineapple leather. So it is produced by using raw materials which are the byproduct of pineapple harvest. So somewhere means it's like we are making the use of the byproduct also, and we are coming up with the ethical product. Second is leaf leather. So when usually when we think of leaf तो हमें लगता है कितना पतला सा, कितना फ्रेजाइल सा है, वो लेदर जैसा काम कैसे कर सकता है, उसमें ड्यूरेबिलिटी ही कहाँ होगी. So when we think of durable fabrics, tree leaves probably don't come to our mind. But that's changing. A relatively rare material in the market, leaf leather is a unique cruelty-free option. Of course, that's completely away from the cruel world. They are made by applying a polymer to preserve the leaves into the fiber sheet. Then the coconut leather, so they are grown entirely from the waste products of the coconut industry. So I think the best or the key point is that such leather is being produced from the by product or the waste products of the main edible product. So somewhere we are bringing the use of the waste as well. So this new alternative is durable and strongly resembles real leather in appearance. Apple leather. So another byproduct leather comes from apple harvesting, made from the discarded skins and cores. So we could have never imagined, means after we eat apple, means if we peel the apple, we throw the skin in the dustbin. So that discarded skin is being used for making the leather, and this the appearance is quite close to the real one, but it has a paper like feel, so it's quite patla, it's quite thin in the density. Coffee leather. So that's very interesting. First line about it, that we all love to drink it, but from now on we will be able to wear it as well. So this is made with sustainable recycled coffee beans and coffee plant, and this patented material was developed in Germany, and it actually does smell like coffee. So I'm sure means something, the raw material is coffee, so I'm sure even after the processing also somewhere the aroma would be there. Then there is an organization by a UN, which is United Nations Industrial Development Organization, and this organization is specifically working for leather sector. So when we say leather sector, I'm very sure that all of us know that, as I just spoke about it, that we have a sensitive heart towards the, or the soft corner towards the animals. So similarly, UNIDO has been dealing with specific problems of the leather industry since its early years. And most successful program in the leather sector has been environmental protection and pollution control through waste minimization and conversion of solid waste into saleable byproducts. So this UN organization is specifically working on the projects for bringing the less use of the animal skin in making of the leather, and in promoting the substitutes of leather. And somewhere, as a consumer, you and me and all over the world, consumer is also equally happy with the substitutes, because it's serving the purpose, and it's most importantly, it's bringing happiness to the soul, it's bringing peace to the soul, that yes, we are not hurting animal for the use of a leather. So this was all about the leather. We started from the bishtis and mashak, and then we talked about the leather products, the making of the leather, Shanti Niketan products, and then we talked about the substitutes of the leathers. Now we would be covering the topic which is floor coverings. So under floor coverings, we will be briefly talking about rugs and carpets, kilim and dari. So if in the chat box we can write the difference, if means just maybe a mere guess, a difference between rugs and carpets. Dr. Swati, you have to help if it's something comes in the chat
Sure,
box.
sure. And Gagan, there is also a lag of, I think, 30-40 seconds. So you need to wait for some time before the answer starts coming in.
Sure, sure, sure,
So
sure.
you can repeat your question again.
Sure. So we will be talking about the floor coverings now, and under floor coverings, we will be briefly taking up these terms to understand the difference between rugs, carpets, kilim, dari. So, any answers from our dear participants? Any difference which is there in your mind between rugs and carpets, please? Or the difference between kilim and dari? Anything. Or if not difference, maybe just share your understanding about these terms, any of these terms.
I am not getting any answers right now. Actually, everybody is trying to get into the G meet, but I would just like to tell everyone, for the sanctity and thorough, the trainings goes well without any interference. Though there are a lot of people trying to get in, but please join us through YouTube, because I think learning is more important than being in G meet. So please, if you are hearing me, stay on YouTube. YouTube links have been mailed to you. They are WhatsApp to you. Please be on YouTube. Don't try and come on the Gmeet, because every time you try to enter, it really affects the training. We our staff has to work by denying it, and we don't want to deny entry to anybody, because ultimately we all are learners. हम सब सीखने के लिए यहाँ बैठे हैं. अगर हम इस तरीके से एंट्री लेने की कोशिश करते रहेंगे तो उससे फायदा नहीं होगा. उससे आप बस डिस्टरबेंस कर रहे हो. आप यूट्यूब पे रहिए. आपको कुछ कहना है, आप व्हाट्सएप, आप इसके चैट बॉक्स पे लिखिए, आई एम देयर टू लिसन, एंड गगन इज देयर टू आंसर. So we have an answer. Rugs are smaller and carpets are bigger.
Thank you, Dr. Swati. Thank you, Dr. Swati. Okay, so we can. The answer is already given by Dr. Swati. So rugs, they partially cover the floors. They cover the partial portion of the floor, and carpets are from one wall to another wall, absolutely covering of the wall. So that's the major difference between these terms, and sometimes we tend to use them interchangeably, but technically the difference exists. The technical difference is there, and that too exists. Similarly, if we talk about these terms kilim and dari, so first of all, the similarity between them. There is no pi, there is no third dimension of fiber in both of them. They are flat. That is why their height is less as compared to rugs and carpets. And if we talk about the dissimilarity, so kilim has the bright colors, and they basically focus on the geometric patterns, and the purpose is more for prayer mats. So they are basically used for as a praying mats. And when we talk about the dari, so they are basically in the pastel colors, and the patterns of the motifs, they are floral, flowing, and more of stylized designs. And dari again the purpose is the floor covering, and they can be as long, comparative as compared to kilim. They are longer also, they are broader also, because kilim's purpose is for the small purposes only. As I gave one of the examples, it's basically used for the praying mats only. So now, if we talk about the tradition of floor covering in India, that has started with dari, and many of our houses, we still have dari and we still use them. So now, what is dari? It's basically used as floor covering. And traditionally, the thoughts, the jaw profiles were very stereotypical. That was the reason it was thought that for dari, the cotton spinning work was given to the woman of the house, thinking that it does not require much physical activity, and women being considered physically weak, so that job was given to her. And the dyeing of the yarn for the dari was done by the men of the family, men of the house. So this was the tradition. This is how dari making started. And then it with the advancement of a technology, with the thought of making things easier, the looms came. And on the hand loom, the specific loom which is used for making dari is called as panja loom. So panja loom is actually like a panja. When we say na, it's like a claw or hath ka panja. So it's basically, it helps to put the yarns in the place so that dari is compactly packed. So this is the loom which is traditionally used for hand woven daris. So this is operated by only one person, and it has adjustable height and comfortable seating position to increase the production output. It is designed to produce better quality daris and carpets, and this is the handloom solution for making, or the we can say equipment to make the dari. When we talk about the power loom, then the list is endless these days, because most of the daris, carpets, rugs now they are made on the power loom as well. But looking at the tradition, panja loom was extensively used. One, the major reason was the easiness of using it. Then again, while going through the e-newspaper, this newspaper is with the name of The Telegraph, and this is a publication of Kolkata. So I'm sure Mahesh sir knows about it, and Manjari ma'am knows about it. They belong to Kolkata. So the Telegraph, this article, I think this was there again 10-15 days back only. So this talks about there is one foundation in Jaipur with the name Jaipur Rugs Foundation, and the name of their project is Manchaha. So I think the meaning of the word is very clear to all of us. Manchaha means the way I want, the way I express my heart. So it's written expression of my heart. So the effort of this foundation is to develop mats, rugs, and is a this is a sustainable development initiative where weavers get to design their own rug for the first time ever. So this was a long article of around 10 pages. I would be sharing screenshots with you, and if you would like to read it, then I can share the article, the complete PDF as well. So this basically foundation started by giving opportunities to the weavers to earn their livelihood by weaving the rugs. But gradually they found that every weaver, most of the weavers had the creative bent as well. So the opportunity was given to the weavers to design rugs also. And the key and the unique feature about this foundation is that none of the weaver is qualified, educated. They are from any, they are not, they have never gone to any fashion institutes or schooling भी बहुत minimum करी हुई है. Still they have come up with beautiful designing. So that is why they have mentioned that this initiative has given chance to weavers to get to design their own rugs. So I'm just repeating the name of the foundation, which is Jaipur Rugs Foundation, and the name of the project is Manchaha. So this is the article. I took the screenshots, and the PDF is also with me. If required, it can be shared. It's a wonderful. It's going to be a wonderful reading, and the picture we can see the woman in sari. She's Bimla Devi. Again, never gone to school, and she joined this foundation to earn the money, and she started with the weaving, but gradually she unleashed her potential that she has a creative bent as well. She started designing. So this is the effort being taken by Jaipur Rug Foundation. So this is all about the article, and now most of their viewers have more or less become entrepreneurs. So this was the interview. The owner was interviewed, and much information can be extracted from here. Then another interesting information, maybe most of us, maybe some of us already know about this place. This place is called as Badohi, and this is close to Varanasi. And this place is called as Carpet City. So I think when we say that Badohi, also known as Carpet City, so I think the title itself justifies that maybe it is a hub of yarn spinning, weaving, dyeing, and finally making up of the carpet, because the city has been titled as Carpet City. So few of the points, this place basically is smaller than a village also. That is why it has been mentioned at a small hamlet about 16 kilometers away from the city of Varanasi. So it's smaller than the village as well. Second point, it is home to the one of the largest hand knit and hand woven carpet industries in South Asia. Third point, carpet making was introduced in the 16th century by Iranian travelers, and the geographical location was basically this place, Badohi. And the types of carpet they manufactured or they wove, the weaving was done. So they had specific names. So dari is very familiar to all of us, and there are specific names: Lori Bhav, Chappa Mir, Indo Gabe, and some more carpets. And the key feature again about this place is that there is a institute which is only academically teaching and preparing students in the field of the carpet, and this is called as Indian Institute of Carpet Technology. And this institute is established and or this is established in Badoi itself. Then some of the carpets we can see. So this specific pattern is called as Lori Bhaft, and these are the rugs woven by the people of Lori and Ghashkai tribal descent. So these are the names of the tribes, and their origin is basically from the Turkey. And they have always used the raw material wool, and that too from the local sheep and goats. The patterns, they have specific patterns, and the patterns they which include are medallions. So medallions are basically the pieces of jewelry, birds, humans, animals, flowers, trees, and the designing, it depends either on this, either in the center or in the corners. So this is a key feature, or we can say this is how they have named their product, and this is called as Lori Bhaft. Another is Indo Ghabe, and these are again the rugs noted in India, which are oriented at the Persian rugs with a convincing quality. So, when we talk about the carpets from Varanasi, undoubtedly they have unmatched quality. They would always have a high quality. So these relatively coarse rugs are knotted in a thick pile and are therefore highly robust. So the pile, the density, the height, and again the piling, the third dimension of the fiber, special care is taken for that, and that gives us the density, and that gives the weight also, and the stability on the floor as well. But due to that, it becomes robust. Sometimes it becomes cumbersome for a storage in the house as well. So this is all about the carpet industry, and then we would also be briefly talking about home furnishing. So under home furnishing, we would be specifically taking some home fashion products, because home furnishing is an umbrella term. It covers from sofa covers, from curtains, table mats, runners, apron. We have so many products, home fashion products, and which we talk about in class 11th textbook. So, so coming back to home furnishing, which is an umbrella term, so the furnishings of a house or a room, and the furniture, curtains, carpets, and decorations which are used, they all are covered under the term home furnishing. So, carpets we have already talked in detail. So, now we are directly coming to home fashion products, and under that also we would be taking some specific products only, and they are the extension of home furnishing articles. So, again, this topic has been introduced in class 11th in fashion studies around 5 to 6 years back only, when CBSE along with NFT, they realized, we realized as teachers also, that designing does not restrict ourselves to clothing only. These are also the area. In fact, nowadays these are the more sought after area which requires designing. So by adding content and curriculum on these topics, it has given more idea to the students that the designing, the horizon for designing is unlimited. So one of the products which is included in home fashion category, it's called as doily, and this is commonly seen in houses, but that's a technical, more acceptable terminology in the fashion industry or home fashion industry. So this is an ornamental mat. So basically, the purpose, it's decoration, but yes, it's serving the purpose as well. So this is either made up of paper or fabric, and variously used for protecting services and food presentation. So when it's on the table, it's the purpose is for the making the presentation better. Again, that's ornamental and decorative purpose only. And some in some of the cultures or the places, it is also used for head covering or for the clothing ornamentation.
Gagan, I would like to interrupt you. I don't know if I have interrupted you in between your talk, but there are a lot of messages coming on the YouTube. A lot of people want to say, you're asking a lot of questions, so people want to add. So I
So
thought, why not give them a chance? So Guru Murthy ma'am is saying doiling is done by tatting method, and in Karur is famous for home textiles. I thought it should be brought up because a lot of people will have, they can write it down as examples.
why not? Why not? So it's done in Kunur, right? South India.
Karur,
Can you
Karur, Karur.
Karur? Okay, okay, okay. Thank you,
And a
ma'am.
lot of people have given their views on rugs and carpets. So, rug is a piece of thick material that covers small part of floor by Harshita. Seema ma'am is saying rugs are similar than carpets. Guru Murthy ma'am again is saying that carpets are a big fashion things nowadays and they are to be designed by for pets. Veena ji is saying carpets cover from wall to wall, but rugs are comparatively smaller. So a lot of people have given their views. I can just pick up few. And I would also request Gagan, after asking a question, wait for some time because there are a lot of people who want to answer, and somehow we are not able to give them two-way communication in training. So we will have to accommodate.
Sure, sure,
Right.
sure,
So please
sure.
continue now.
Yes, yes, sure, sure, sure. So anything, okay, so we can take a pause here. So if any question regarding the rugs and carpets, I request participants to post their questions and we can take up the questions, please.
Question answers we can do later, Gagan, but when you finish your presentation completely. All
Sure,
right.
sure, 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 sure. So thank you, Gurumurthy ma'am, for adding the point. That is quite interesting. And yes, this is more now for the main purpose is now ornamental. And yes, it's mentioned that it is the characteristic is the basically the way it is constructed or prepared. The main key feature is that it has an open work. It's not a compact weaving. It is an open work. That is the beauty of this product. Second is duvet. So anybody, okay, so I think we can take the question from, or we can discuss on it. Duvet is we interchangeably use this word with quilt covers also, but there is a slight difference. Duvet usually has a filling of a down. We say down filled. So, participants, any idea or someone wants to share what do we mean by down filled?
Wait for at least 30 seconds because we have a lag.
For sure, for sure. So quilts we are using at homes, and we know that duvet also we are using at home, and this is something traditionally this has been used. And in these days, when we say downfill, that is rarely available. But yes, this is a very common term if we talk about duvet covers. So anyone, what do we mean by downfilled?
Still, still awaiting some responses on YouTube.
That would be great if we wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because you are right, means because of I think the YouTube platform, we lose that interaction thing. Otherwise,
All right, maybe I can just stop you in between because, and then give you some viewpoints of the, onlookers. Okay.
please do that. Please
Sure.
do that.
Please
Yeah,
go
yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. So basically, downfill, when we talk about the downfill, so one is the feather of a bird, and the feather which is below one is the outside feather which is apparent, which we can see that the bird's body is covered with a feather. Another feather which is below the upper layer of the feather, that is called as downfill, and the quality of that feather is much softer, much softer. That is why in duvet covers downs are used. feathers are not preferred for the filling, and it is considered to be a luxurious filling or the finishing. So if we talk about the product, apparently, so it can be called as comforter, it can be called as similar to quilt, but technically or in the construction there is a difference. There's a difference in the filling of the product, though the filling is not visible outside, and the people who are not from the designing field or who do not have the creative bent or the understanding towards the home furnishing, for them rajai or duvet could be the same also, but technically there is a difference. So duvet usually called a comforter or a down filled quilt. It is a type of bedding consisting of a soft flat bag filled with either down, feathers, wool, cotton, silk, or a synthetic alternatives. So gradually the alternatives are substitutes are available in the market and they are being used. But traditionally, the way it started was with the filling of a down. And if we talk about the origin, then duvet originated in rural Europe and were filled with the down feathers of ducks or geese. And they say that the best quality feathers are taken from either duck. That's one of the species of the duck, and which is known for its effectiveness as a thermal insulator. So when we are using duvet, if we talk about the purpose, we are using them for a purpose, and the purpose is yes, we need thermal insulation to provide the warmth to the body. So that comes best or the most effective from this particular species of a duck. Any questions or anything, participants, you want to add, you want to share?
Yes, yes, there are a lot of answers to your question. Abita ji has said, do it is a form, is from Britain and it is a comforter. Shabi Azar ji has said, in Hindi it is known as gadde. Amy Sargent, soft feathers of certain birds is down feather. Rajiv ji has said carpet is a prestige. Manvi ji is saying Jaipuri quilt, Laziz cooking and work experience is saying it's Rajai. Soft felling mattresses. Again, Abita ji is saying they also use polyfill fiber and it is less expensive.
Indeed, indeed. See, as we just talk about it, that now once there is a origin of a particular product, it doesn't take much time for alternatives to come in the market, and alternatives have to come so that larger scale of the market can be catered. Not all type of customers would be interested buying down-filled duvet, because final purpose, ultimate purpose is thermal insulation. If alternative in less price is also providing that, so we need to see what kind of a clientele is there. So definitely polyfill is being used, and that's an alternative. Shall we move ahead, Dr. Swati?
Yes, please.
Okay. So one pictorial to make things visually more clear to all of us, that down and feather, and down is known for its incredible softness, and this is a filling. Down is a filling feather gathered from the undercoat of geese, ducks, and swans. So it's the under layer of the main feather, and because of its lightweight nature and lofty fluff, down is a great temperature regulator. And we talk about the feather. Feather covers most of the bird's body and they aid in flight, thermal insulation, and waterproofing. That's very general use. So what we need to make ourselves clear here is with that when we are talking about the duvet, so duvet and down filling should go parallel in our understanding, in our mind, so that the things are quite clear. Then one of the home fashion products, tea cozy, and this has been discussed in a class 11 textbook as well. So I think the name itself is justifying its meaning. So tea cozy or a tea warmer is a cover for a teapot, and traditionally it was made of a cloth, and the purpose was to keep the kettle, the beverage inside the kettle warm. So anybody would like to share the origin already? Someone who knows it already, that how did this concept come? More or less, it's a decorative product. So how did this originate and why did this come? Or any views on the tea cozy? So we can wait for 20-30 seconds.
Those who are seeking attendance link, I have already posted on the YouTube. Before you come up with the answer, or along you're coming up with the answer, a few instruction. Please fill it in the form completely, and any question not filled will not be accepted. The form will be rejected. Also, you have to be a fashion studies teacher teaching to get the assessment link. So, attendance link filling or not filling will not give you any chance of certification. It is basically assessment that will give you certification. So, I'm waiting for the responses on YouTube. Or Gagan, you can go ahead, and if something comes, we can again stop in between.
Sure, sure, sure. So, Dr. Swati, even I would like to conclude here because that was our last topic, home fashion products, and under that we have taken tea cozy. So, origin, if we talk about the origin, so in the 18th century itself, in the European countries, so there was you can say a new trend that during the afternoon, especially the women of the family, they started with the trend of sitting at leisure and enjoying a cup of tea. So at that time that was the time they wanted to spend together, they wanted to gossip, they wanted to talk. So sipping tea was not merely a task for them. When I was reading about it, I actually connected it. Sometimes for us it is just a task that yes, the tea chai peeni hai, but for them it was one of the most awaited activity of the day, afternoon time, sipping tea together slowly, gossiping. So to keep the beverage hot for longer time, this is how the tea cozy was originated. So this the very interesting fact means while researching about it. So I'll just read it. So in Europe during the 18th century, afternoon tea was a time for networking and keeping up to date with aristocracy, gossip, and topical news. With all the chatter at tea time, the teapot would get cold, which would have at times cut short some tea parties. And so the tea cozy came about. So, and now again, means as we discussed, traditionally things they come, they origin, but gradually the alternatives come. So these days now we have flasks, we have thermal bottles to keep the beverages hot or cold for 24 hours, for 12 hours. So somewhere that's the, I would say, the origin was tea cozy only. The idea of the origin was the tea cozy only, and this is how the designing has developed. So their use predates the invention of vacuum flask as a means of keeping hot liquids hot. So these are few of the just the pictorials to connect with that how tea cozy looks like. And definitely lot of designing is now done in this product as well, and the people who are still using in their houses, this is one of the area for their shopping. So this was all about the home fashion products, and with this we conclude. So we started with the leather industry, we talked about the carpet industry, and today we also talked about that how India is emerging to become one of the fashion centers, and finally we are ending up with the home fashion products. So now I request participants, in case of any discussion, any questions, please
All
feel
right.
free.
Your Tikozi question has answers now. Lizzie's cooking and working experiences say that it is for keeping tea hot. Abita ji has said it's a vacuum flask. D's, I don't know your name, please. You have just given a number. Tea cozy is used as a part of tradition of afternoon tea in England. And again, Abita ji is saying it's hand knitted also from Britain.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right.
Most of them have are right in their understanding
Absolutely.
of tea cozy.
Absolutely, must be, must be, must be. So, any questions from yesterday's topic, from today's topic? Not only questions, something means let's share the information. We are here together to learn on this platform, and as you have been sharing, adding to it, so kindly add in any of the topics which we have covered yesterday, today. So that would be great that together if we can learn.
That will be great, I guess. We need to wait for some time because since I would request now all the participants to please put up your questions on the YouTube. If you have anything related to the topic that was brought up today or yesterday, and the expert is here to answer your questions. So, any
Meantime,
questions, please put it on the chat box of YouTube. We will definitely go through it.
one of the slides which I missed in the morning session. So, meantime, I am just reaching there and waiting for the add-on information, not the questions. I'm sure that all of us are equally equipped, but I'm sure that all of us can add something.
Also, I would request somebody to please copy and paste the link, attendance link on YouTube. I'm trying to do it, but somehow it is not happening from my side. So, if somebody has that link or it is there in your chat box, please put it on the YouTube chats. Yes, now I'm able to do it. Thank you. This is for today's attendance. Please fill it up and send your attendance to us. Again, a complete form is expected from you all. Incomplete forms are not accepted, and only for fashion studies teacher it will be done so.
Okay, so meantime, when the questions are coming up, I missed because that time there was the issue came in between. So when we were talking about this newspaper article, so this newspaper article has specified that the inspiration from the British Raj, from the British attire was so strong that Rabindranath Tagore has put the inspiration influences in one of his books also, and then Satyajit Ray took the ideas from his book, and this is a Bangla movie, and I think in Bangla this is called as Ghore Bear, so which means home and the world. So this movie also I think we can suggest to our students. Before that we can watch ourselves because Satyajit Ray has taken a efforts to show the changes in the styles of the sari blouses and petticoats after the invasion of Britishers. So, how the styles of the blouses and petticoats became more contemporary. So, this has been shown in this movie. And I think once, even I haven't watched this movie ever, but through this article only, when I got to know, then I researched about this movie also. Ghore Bere, this is a Bangla movie, but I'm sure if subtitles are there, we would be able to understand as well, and we would be able to relate and understand that the evolution of sari blouses and petticoats. So this was one thing which I missed in the morning. So I thought to utilize time, I can go back to this slide.
So, anyone or any suggestions, so please do put up on the YouTube chat box. We will be here for another, I think, 4 3 4 minutes because the lag is there, so I understand. um, Navneet ji, I can read your mail chat, and if you are teaching fashion studies it's fine. Okay, there is a one response from Mahesh ji. As for Bartik, I want to mention that the origin is was Java, Indonesia.
Yes, yes, yes. The origin was that. Thank you, Mahesh sir. Thank you. And from Java itself, Mahesh sir and everyone, means while researching, daughter-in-law of Rabindranath Tagore, I think her name was Sarah, if I'm not mistaken. She took the inspiration from there itself, and that is what she brought it. She revived the tradition in West Bengal. So yes, absolutely, the origin is in Java.
So a lot of people are thanking you, Gagan, for a wonderful training session.
Thank you,
And
everyone.
since I am not able to see any questions coming from the YouTube, so I guess everybody has got a good idea about what you have taught, and it has definitely added to their current set of knowledge.
Thank you. Thank
We
you.
are open for any new topics that is maybe required by you, or you feel needs to be added to the current sessions. You can always put it in your suggestions when you add give us your feedback when we'll be giving the feedback links tomorrow at the end of the tomorrow's session, so we can incorporate that in the trainings tomorrow. And I would again suggest all of you to please be very careful when you are attending the trainings, because at the end of it, assessments are based into it, and when I see the results of the assessments, I feel that there are certain people who need to have little more understanding on fashion studies. Maybe they are not from that background, that is why they are not able to answer them. So the training is specifically for fashion studies teacher who are teaching the course. So I would request all of you to be very, very attentive during the sessions. We are going to be then breaking off maybe for another 10 minutes. Please don't switch off your YouTube links. We will be here and so on this Gmeet itself, and then I'll be taking up the next session on sustainable fashion. And Gagan, do you need to continue for from yesterday?
We have covered in the morning itself. We have taken that yesterday's
You have
topic.
taken it. So we will have a short session in the afternoon, maybe another 10 minutes, and then we'll wind up the today's training session. Thank you so much all for your patience and perseverance, and your dedication towards your teaching and your fraternity. So we'll meet again in 10 minutes, and 12:30 we'll be starting the next session. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.
A very good afternoon to all. It's 12:30, and shall we start with the next session so that we are able to finish it on time, and then we can have assessments on time. All right, so let me please start with my presentation. I understand that there is a lag. A very good afternoon to all. It's 12:30, and shall we start with the next session? All right, so we have a lot of issues with certification and assessments. We'll be answering those later on, but today I'm going to be starting with sustainable fashion. So, as a domain expert, all of you, you must have somewhere encountered in your school system also that there's a lot of wastage happening. And since this topic has been, somewhere highlighted through our previous training of yesterday when Mona ma'am spoke about sustainability, and today Gagan also brought up the point on sustainability. So, my biggest question to you all is, what is sustainability? How do you define sustainability? And what do you understand by that? I'll wait for your responses because my YouTube is open next to me, so I can also, kind of see all your responses. So please do send me your responses. What is sustainability? How do you define sustainable fashion? What are your thoughts about it? Because this is something that was very well spoken by Mona ma'am also yesterday, and today Gagan also spoke about it. So somewhere it is a big takeaway from these sessions, 2 days. So please put up your views on the YouTube so that I can read it and I can, answer your queries. So sustainability is basically made of, or sustainable is made of two words. One is sustain and one is able. What is sustain? Okay, so I have an answer. Maheshji is saying using resources judicially and preserving it for future generations. Sustainability means conserving environment. Poonamji, Laziz Cooking has said utilization of waste material to convert into productive article. Ankita is okay only for CB. I don't know the name. It coming as only as CBSE workshop. Sustainability means the ability to stay in the world for comparatively longer time. Development happens yet preserving resources for future generation. That is Irene. Maureen says sustainable fashion is using material in eco-friendly way. Poonam Jan is saying using resources judiciously. So actually what we are talking about is we are just talking sustainability in one viewpoint, that is reusing it, using it judiciously. But sustainability means to sustain, to go on forever. So when we talk and when we speak about going on forever in terms of fashion, so it kinds of have a deflecting kind of a views, because fashion is taken as something which is changing, fast fashion. We need to keep on, changing and reinventing our looks. And sustainability is much different concept. It talks about going slow, using resources that goes on forever. It never ends, it doesn't end in a landfill, but it grows back into something else, and so you can use that resource. So that is sustainable, and we will talk about it more in the coming slides. So my next slide is, the thought for this session is, what we buy defines us. What we buy defines us, whether we choose to buy something which is not usable, we like it and we just purchase it on a jiffy, and then we just keep it somewhere, we hoard it, we then just give it to somebody, or we just keep it at one corner of our house. Whatever we do, it defines us, because somewhere we are psychologically wired in a such a way that we buy things because we want to satisfy some of our urges. You know, you must have heard that if somebody is sad, go for a shopping spree. You know, a lot of people used to say about shopping as a way of relieving stress. So that is also a way of defining people, you know. You don't have to buy things to feel good. You can give things and feel good as well. So the learning outcomes of this session would be, we will be defining sustainability in fashion. We will recall terminology used under sustainable fashion. We can relate sustainability in fashion as an economic activity, and I create a sustainable fashion activity. So this is going to be very interesting, because this is something that we as teachers, as educators, can bring into our systems. How to create a sustainable fashion activity. Till date, we never used to think about sustainability. When I was in college, we used to just throw away fabrics, papers, use kiya bacha, we just throw it in the dustbin, but we never ever thought about sustainability to be part of our each and every activity. So my next slide talks about why do we need sustainable fashion. Just please look at the image. And that image is not from a garbage dump, journal garbage dump. It is a stockpile of clothes that are thrown into, just thrown in a garbage dump. This is the kind of clothing we are, disposing, and this is just part of it. We are actually throwing so much of clothing every year, that if we don't do that, we can actually clothe every person on this earth. So we don't have to throw so much of clothes away. So what is sustainable fashion? As per the World Commission on Environment and Development, sustainable development is a development that meets the need of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Just understand this, future generations to meet their own needs. So we as humans try to define certain parameters, that this is what will be required by future generations, but they may be having their own needs, and we use so much of resources that we don't leave anything for our children. If we will not leave anything or any space for our children, where will they go? So we have to think about our resources, our resource utilization in such a way that it meets the need of the future generation. So, when we talk of sustainability in a commercial manner, there are three major pillars, that is, people, that is like us, you, and everyone. Planet, we just have one planet, that is Earth. And profit, because when we talk about economics, it cannot work without profit. There has to be certain level of exchange of money, so that people at the end of it, they can have food on their plates, or they can do what their everyday needs. So when United Nations Climate Change Conference, that is COP26, the sustainability became the center point of the discussion, and hence we heard so much about solar panel, harnessing solar energy, wind energy, because people want to clean up the earth. We have created so much of mess. So when applying sustainability concept to fashion, sustainable fashion can be defined as clothing, shoes, accessories that are manufactured, marketed, and used in most sustainable fashion. That means you need to use clothing in a way that you do not put so much of carbon footprint on earth. In other words, striving for financially solid business models, acting in an environmentally friendly way and socially acceptable manner, and not harming animals. Because we should not have fashion based on things that kill or harm anybody, or any living organisms, or people. So when we talk about commercially socially acceptable business models have to be formed. So when we talk about sustainable fashion, there are a lot of terminologies that are used, and what we are doing right now is the linear consumption model. What the today's fashion is mostly made on it. You take from the earth, you make into it, and then after using for some time, you throw it into the landfill. So there is a high demand for cheap clothes, which is obvious because at some point of time, we were also buying a lot of things which were accessibly easily available in the market, which was so low cost that we just purchased it, which also encourages companies to hunt down cheap production methods. So when you want cheap clothes, companies cannot lower their profits. So what they do is they go for cheaper production methods. They easily accessible raw materials, low cost energy for the productions. They throw away their untreated waste material into the nature, because treating and cleaning them would require a lot of money. So, as per an estimation, the population will increase to more than 8.5 billion people, and that the demand for clothes will increase by 63% until 2030. So, it is just coming around 8 years down the lane. Just imagine if the clothes that we throw away every year will increase by 63%. So, where will all we go? Where will we go? We will be just standing on piles of clothes. So, we need an economic model cannot survive on a linear consumption model. One approach of solving this is to build a circular fashion model. So, what is a circular fashion model that I'm going to be talking in my next slide? It is something where nothing goes out of the system. Everything goes here, and this is a very good model for sustainability. It is based on the approach that fashion items circulates within the economic system instead of being disposed of. I'm zooming the PPT because I just got a message that I hope this suffices. If it does, just please give me a thumbs up. Circular fashion can be defined as clothes, shoes, accessories that are designed, sourced, produced, provided with an intention that it will be used and circulated responsibly and effectively in a society for as long as possible in their most valuable form. So, if I buy a shirt, I can use it for the most possible long time, like 2 or 3 or 4 years, or maybe more. There are people who use their same clothing for years. In most valued form, that means the clothing should not go bad. They should not develop holes, so it should not have the colors should not fade too much. And thereafter, once I stop wearing it, once I feel that I need to dispose it off, I return it safely to the biosphere, that is, it decomposes, because we all know how many years plastics takes. I think it's not years, it's centuries plastic takes to decompose. And once the shirt go back to the earth, it decomposes. You can harvest a new set of clothes, and then again it goes back to the manufacturer. This is a very very idealistic view of circular fashion, and this is something we should all try as a consumers to promote such activities, such clothing which helps us to make a circular fashion. Then we move on to collaborate fashion consumption. Okay, so just give me a moment. I've been asked to put it on full screen. I'm trying my best. Okay, I hope this does the trick. Um, if it does, yes, Monica Bakshiji, thank you so much for that flower and a thumbs up. So now we move to the collaborate fashion consumption. So, um, what is collaborative fashion? It is, instead of buying new fashion products, we buy or we have access to already existing garments. So for this, I remember there is a sari bank in one of the districts of Uttar Pradesh, where women they give up their saris after wearing some time, and then it is being lended out to another woman who wants to wear it for some time, and this goes on. So instead of buying a new sari, or I see a new sari style and I feel like I should go and buy it, I can easily get it from that sari bank. There is a sari bank. So this is how a collaborative fashion consumption happens. And trust me, this all existed in our Indian society. If you remember, like Mona ma'am also was saying yesterday, these are all part of our growing up. We used to gift our clothes. We used to swap our clothes. Or you used to give it as second hand. We used to give it to somebody else to wear it. So, usage options of fashion products owned by others are: you can share your products, garments, lend it, rent it, or lease it. So, this is a collaborative fashion consumption that also reduces the burden of buying new clothes. Cradle to cradle is another big idea or aspect of sustainable development. It talks about textiles, apparel products that needs to be designed and to be worn safely on bare skin and should be fully biodegradable within biological cycles. It has a portions of collaborative fashion, but here we say it has to be designed safely worn on bare skins. So I was reading this article way back, and it said, okay, am I not audible? Let me just check, please. Just let me check. Comments, lend it, rent it, or lease it. Oh no, I think I am audible, Vijayji. Please, you can just work on your mic. Yes, there's one beautiful line that has come up. Yes, inheriting parents' clothing item. I completely agree with you. We all do that, and as ladies, we really look after our mother's saris. So yes, we do that. So we've come back to Cradle, and there was this article where it said that rayon is being used for undergarments because rayon is taken as an alternative to cotton, and rayon is being used for making undergarments. But nobody knows that rayon creates so much of trouble with skin. With the climate conditions like India, hot, humid, it reacts with the skin and it gives you such bad itches and skin issues that rayon, if you're buying anything for children or for older people or yourself, don't buy any rayon product which directly touches your skin, even if it is in a it is being made with some other fiber like cotton. Don't use it. Rayon gives terrible itches on skin, and hence it should not be used, and it is not a very good alternative to cotton also. So for a t-shirt, this would mean a full cyclability in biological cycles. This can be ensured if raw materials are pesticide free. It involves dyestuffs and other chemicals applied through production processes are fully biodegradable. And once it has been used by humans and multiple uses are there, it goes back into the environment and then becomes biodegradable. So for on this, I would like to show you a video. Actually, this was also spoken by Mona Suri ma'am yesterday, where she spoke about that one shirt takes so many trillion liters of water to be made. So this I found on the net. Classic white so please see. Annually, we sell and buy 2 billion t-shirts globally, making it one of the most common garments in the world. But how and where is the average t-shirt made? And what's its environmental impact? Clothing items can vary a lot, but a typical t-shirt begins its life on a farm in America, China, or India, where cotton seeds are sown, irrigated, and grown for the fluffy bolls they produce. Self-driving machines carefully harvest these tufts. An industrial cotton gin mechanically separates the fluffy bolls from the seeds, and the cotton lint is pressed into 225-kilogram bales. The cotton plants require a huge quantity of water and pesticides. 2,700 liters of water are needed to produce the average t-shirt, enough to fill more than 30 bathtubs. Meanwhile, cotton uses more insecticides and pesticides than any other crop in the world. These pollutants can be carcinogenic, harm the health of field workers, and damage surrounding ecosystems. Some t-shirts are made of organic cotton, grown without pesticides and insecticides, but organic cotton makes up less than 1% of the 22.7 million metric tons of cotton produced worldwide. Once the cotton bales leave the farm, textile mills ship them to a spinning facility, usually in China or India.
where high-tech machines blend, card, comb, pull, stretch, and finally twist the cotton into snowy ropes of yarn called slivers. Then yarns are sent to the mill, where huge circular knitting machines weave them into sheets of rough grayish fabric, treated with heat and chemicals until they turn soft and white. Here, the fabric is dipped into commercial bleaches and azo dyes, which make up the vivid coloring in about 70% of textiles. Unfortunately, some of these contain cancer-causing cadmium, lead, chromium, and mercury. Other harmful compounds and chemicals can cause widespread contamination when released as toxic wastewater in rivers and oceans. Technologies are now so advanced in some countries that the entire process of growing and producing fabric barely touches a human hand, but only up until this point. After the finished cloth travels to factories, often in Bangladesh, China, India, or Turkey, human labor is still required to stitch them up into t-shirts. Intricate work that machines just can't do. This process has its own problems. Bangladesh, for example, which has surpassed China as the world's biggest exporter of cotton t-shirts, employs 4.5 million people in the t-shirt industry, but they typically face poor conditions and low wages. After manufacture, all those t-shirts travel by ship, train, and truck to be sold in high-income countries, a process that gives cotton an enormous carbon footprint. Some countries produce their own clothing domestically, which cuts out this polluting stage. But generally, apparel production accounts for 10% of global carbon emissions. And it's escalating. Cheaper garments and the public's willingness to buy boosted global production from 1994 to 2014 by 400% to around 80 billion garments each year. Finally, in a consumer's home, the t-shirt goes through one of the most resource-intensive phases of its lifetime. In America, for instance, the average household does nearly 400 loads of laundry per year, each using about 40 gallons of water. Washing machines and dryers both use energy, with dryers requiring 5 to 6 times more than washers. This dramatic shift in clothing consumption over the last 20 years, driven by large corporations and the trend of fast fashion, has cost the environment, the health of farmers, and driven questionable human labor practices. It's also turned fashion into the second largest polluter in the world after oil. But there are things we can do. Consider shopping secondhand. Try to look for textiles made from recycled or organic fabrics. Wash clothes less and line dry to save resources. Instead of throwing them away at the end of their life, donate, recycle, or reuse them as cleaning rags. And finally, you might ask yourself, how many t-shirts and articles of clothing will you consume over your lifetime? And what will be their combined impact on the world? When we produce TED-Ed videos about the environment, we often...
All right, so this is all right. So we are back with the session. This was a small video I already wanted to show all of you. This video talks about the journey of making a t-shirt, starting from the seeds when they are sown to its processing, it's dyeing, it's cutting, it's making into a t-shirt, and then transferring it all over the globe, and the kind of footprint that takes in making one cotton t-shirt. Just imagine and think, are we doing the right thing by throwing t-shirts but just using it 5 or 6 times? Is this fair on the environment? I don't think so. So now we go on to the next slide, which is on eco fashion or green fashion. So as just showed you in this slide, the kind of carbon footprints we are putting on the nature, I think this makes a very good topic afterwards. That is eco fashion or green fashion. So this is about minimizing the impact on the environment is the main theme of eco fashion. So I have put lot of text on these slides so that tomorrow, whenever you go back to the YouTube and want to know more about these fashions, eco fashion, ethical fashion, or any other sort of fashion cycles and sustainability, you can easily pick up and get some resources ready for your students. I'm just increasing these slides. Yeah. So, okay, so a lot of people are saying kindly please share all these excellent videos and resources links. Okay, sure, why not, Monica ji? I'll do that, and I'll make sure that on YouTube also the links are there, because I also have picked up this video from YouTube. It's an open source video, but I really like the way it talks about making up a single T-shirt. So definitely I'll do that. So coming back to the session, eco fashion or green fashion. So it is again minimizing the impact on environment. It is designed, manufactured to maximize benefit to the people and society with least environmental impacts. Biodegradable and recyclable materials are used and produced, which are in a environmentally responsible production processes. So again, the theme is biodegradable, recyclable, less environmental, impact, dyes which are environment friendly. So all these things are the repeated, if you say, repeated themes of a sustainable fashion. So now we're going to go to the ethical fashion. It is like do no harm principle. We are not going to harm any living thing when we are doing making products under such fashion category, which is morally right and acceptable. It includes all aspects of such as fair trading, animal protections, working conditions, because most of the times we are talking about the environmental aspects of sustainability, but it also involves the working conditions. Because when you go to the industries and you see the kind of working conditions there, you suddenly feel sad that why do you purchase so many clothes that so many people have to, force themselves into such labors. So thankfully in India the fashion stays for long. We do not have so much of fast fashion, but in western countries like in England, I said there were some people who were telling me that fashion changes in every 2 weeks, and you have to change your wardrobe to stay in that fashionable, you have to look fashionable. So in such a situation we also need to understand that people who are making these fabrics, these garments, what are their living conditions as well. And also ethical fashion talks about ecological aspects of the production. So again, ethical fashion is definitely against fast and cheap fashion and damaging patterns of fashion consumption, defending fair wages, supporting sustainable livelihoods against toxic pesticides, eco-friendly fabrics and dyes, minimizing use of water, animal rights. It talks about promoting sustainable fashion standards in fashion, because you need to have certain standards benchmark in every mode of production. You just cannot say okay, we are sustainable and we are against the ethical, we are against so and so and things, but in real we are not following them. So there are standards made, and there are certain even logos or tags are given to such fashion. So now I go on to the fair trade fashion. So fair trade fashion or products are produced ethically. It is the best part about fair trade fashion is that the legislations are brought by the government. So they are in place and they are closely monitored that the wages are being paid on time. Workers are, given proper space to sit, and they have regulated times, and the conditions are good. So there are several associations who offer certification services to verify fair trade practices. For example, we have, this is from World Fair Trade Organization. It gives 10 principles on which the standards are set. That if this is being followed, then only you can get a fair trade practicing organization kind of certification. So it also helps you in benchmarking in putting your products into certain countries, and it gives you certain openness, it gives you a lot of leverage when you are advertising your product as a fair trade fashion. So a lot of emphasis, and I think COVID has brought us to our, made us understand that how important our local tailors are and the Ji bhaiyas are. If you can connect with me on this, you will understand that at one time even the online shopping was not happening. There was a time when there was a total lockdown. There was no way you can purchase anything online, but yes, there were phones, and you can call your you could send your this thing garment to some local tailor, and he would do the tailoring and give it back. Everything was of course not touched by there was no physical contact, but then things were being done locally and it was stitched locally. So a lot of emphasis has now been placed on to produce fashion locally. So that actually minimize the distance of items that takes to travel, so there is a lot of reduction in carbon dioxide emissions also. So it is very eco-friendly. Minimalism is another concept which is growing vitally, and it has actually, I have read about it that it has started in UK because they had so many of fashion seasons in a year that now people have started talking about minimalism, and there are a lot of designers who are offering minimalistic wardrobes to the consumers. I have placed a minimalistic wardrobe for an Indian design, keeping in mind the Indian mindset and Indian consumers. So, what is minimalism? So, it counteracts the current consumption behaviors. Minimalism is a form of conscious consumption. So, when we are free ourselves from unnecessary clothing, and this is the best way of getting into a good mood, is when you start open your wardrobe and just put things what you need, what you slightly need, and what you don't need, just keep it away and give it to someone. And the day you give those clothes to someone, trust me, you feel lighter, you feel happier. Your so-called depressions and your irritability just goes away, because as humans we are supposed to help each other, we are supposed to give things to others. So when we talk about minimalistic wardrobes, this is about giving away the unnecessary clothing. Consume less, wear each item more. Live with just those items which are necessary. Don't go with the fast fashion or cheap clothing. Go with clothing that are stylish, that are classic, that going to be remain in your wardrobe for long, and you can wear it for a longer period of time. And mix and match. So if you can see the picture, it talks about 4 5 pairs of leggings, 2 3 pairs of kurtas, and few stylish kurtis, and then it's all about mix and match. Maybe a pair of denim you can put in, and you can also wear denim with the kurtas. So this is how minimalistic wardrobe looks. And as we are coming into the level of types of fashion, again, there is an organic fashion. It talks about clothing which are produced organically. If you remember Mona Suri ma'am's slides, it talk about nettle fiber, coffee fiber. Today also, I think Gagan spoke about coffee fibers, apple skin fibers. So these are organic fashions. They come from things which are already grown in the environment, and then there are no chemicals used in producing them. The best way out from all this clutter is slow fashion. Reduce your intake, purchase less. So it is also known as low consumerism, which is an alternative approach to fast fashion, to slow down production processes, to improve working conditions, to make whole production cycle more transparent, have better quality of clothes which are going to last longer, and promote more sustainable consumption behavior. When I'm reading this out, I remember how my grandmother used to say कि you should not throw clothes just because वो फट गया है या वो उधड़ गया है. You can always cut them and make them into something new, or you can always you can also bind them, stitch them, and correct them all and then wear it. So this is something which is ingrained in our society, and we should follow them, and we should keep on telling our students that fashion is not about making 10 clothes at a time. It's about making maybe two but something that goes on for life. It's like classic. Try and invent something like jeans that generations are going to wear. Try and invent a clothing items I like a sari that no matter when where you are, you always a sari person, then you are a sari person. So that kind of fashion development we need to put into the minds of our children, our students. So the production priorities shifted from quantity to quality. Quality is what we need to teach our children. We do not need to go in for quantity. Then again, vegan fashion. Vegan fashion is about cruelty-free sources. That is, no animal products are used. So, as Gagan had shown in her slides, there are alternatives to leather now. Such beautiful alternatives that are being used. So we can always have such alternatives as part of our school curriculum also. So when you are making something for a fashion show and you're planning to have some some material from animal sources, try and substitute them with a more natural or vegan things. So, how are we going to have sustainability on our school? How to make it more you can say usable or more easy to use? When we talk about sustainability, we talk about a lot of things, but then it comes back to us that, ma'am, it has to be done by the manufacturers, growers, as consumers, what we can do, or as fashion students, what we can do. So these are few points that I'm writing down, which I think you should follow in your schools also. That is zero waste pattern cutting. So I picked up this image from internet. Again, it's from open source, and I really like the way this garment has been converted into a less minimal seam construction garment. And just imagine putting your garments so close to each other. When we were taught in our schools that you need to give this kind of seam, and you need to have this much centimeters seam at this point of garment, if you remember. So this is actually a zero waste cutting pattern. Because why it is required? Because it is estimated that 15% of textiles that is intended for clothing ends up in the cutting room floor. So that's why now in big manufacturing units they have lasers to cut the patterns. Because if we don't have them, then there's a lot of wastage. Minimal seam constructions. This is again a trend that is coming up, and I would really request you as teachers that if you give any projects to your children for making of clothing for fashion shows, stick to minimal seam constructions. Go for patterns which does not need too much of stitching. So that will require number of seams that are put in a garment, and definitely it will save a lot of material and it will be quicker. Lot of manufacturers are going into minimal seam constructions nowadays. Upcycling. This is something which somebody had written in its chat on the YouTube, that sustainability is making something new out of waste. That is not that is part of sustainability. It is called as upcycling. So upcycling is transforming of byproducts, waste or disused material into products or something new which are better quality. So reusing materials that already exist, definitely you are saving on energy, materials, water, virgin materials, energy, and your own human cost is reduced to a lot of level. So this is upcycling. I move on to the next slide, but before that, I can see there are a lot of messages that have come on the YouTube. So there is again, Abhita ji has given a very wonderful message. Zoo fashion is where denim is given to or put in caves of tiger, lions, and bear, where they masticate tear, and that denim is used for jeans making, and it happens in Japan. Wow, this is something new, because till now I thought that it is being pumic stone is placed, and then they rub, and then they remove the they scratch and whatever pattern they make. So I thought pumic stone is used, but this is new. Um, but would not be possible for unidirectional fabrics. Ma'am, for unidirectional fabrics, as I said, you can use less seams. You can make garments with lesser seams. So you can have garments or designs where only two or three seams are required in the complete garment. So that is also designing. That's how we need to create, make students aware and make them more creative. This is a wonderful idea I got on the net. This is designed for disassembly. Today, till now, we used to hear about design for assembling, but this is disassembly. So that means a product is designed in a way so that it can be taken apart at the end of product's life cycle. So the product here is a shoe. The components can be repaired, reused, or recycled. So it is actually made of different components. There is a thread which attaches the top of the shoe with the sole, and then the threading is done to attach both of them together. So tomorrow, if your sole goes back, remove the thread, remove the sole, replace it with a new one, and then again put the thread in, and then you can use the product again. So this strategy means the product will need to be easy to be assembled, as well it could be likely requirement of fewer materials. So this is made by Ewan Stewart for Dublin Institute of Technology in Ireland, who created layers. Shoes that allow wearer to repair and customize footwear themselves. It is made of four parts: upper sole, insole, and uppers, soles, insoles, and the fastening lace. Just a wonderful concept. I just love this concept. And when I was reading it, I felt that it is such a wonderful kind of an experience, to be able to design something which can be used again and again, repaired, recycled, reused, and just imagine the kind of impact it will have on our consumer behavior. Then we go on to the multifunctional or transformational. Designing products for multiple use in fashion, you might design a garment that could be worn in multiple ways, or something that is reversible and a component that you can add or edit. So this is again for the creating purpose. When you are designing, you should tell your students to be able to create something which can be used in multiple ways. And that doesn't have to be just a piece of cloth and you're wrapping in it a different way. It can actually be a garment which you can use in different ways. Design for longevity. This is something which we are inherently know. Smallest design choices can impact on how product's life will last. Creation of classic and timeless styles and colors. You can use high quality fabrics which can withstand use and care. You have to have a good fit, and then you can educate your customers how and best the product can be used. So there is a lot of customer knowledge or customer information that is required when you create such wonderful pieces. Craft preservation is old age. Craft preservation is something, we use age old craft techniques to create something new. So preservation is through innovation. So I remember a lot of people, they have such good saris and then, or shawls or something antique piece, and then it develops a hole and then they are not able to wear it. So there are a lot of people who does the preservation of antiques or old craft techniques, and this can be also one of the ways you can teach your students to restore old products into something new. Now, this is just one slide. I'm talking about understanding sustainability vis-a-vis traditional textiles of India. I have just written the names of the textiles because I know all of you must be knowing about it. You must be teaching it to your children. But somewhere when teaching it, we just forget that most of them are recycled. When we talk about kanta embroidery, you remember layers of saris are placed together and then the kanta used to be done on top of it and then it was used. Sujni embroidery of Bihar, Vipanja Duri of Haryana, Kasuti of Karnataka, Chindi rugs of Gujarat, Namda and Gabo carpets of Kashmir, patchwork. Patchwork is such a fantastic way. We could also do it, and we have also taught our children to students how to do patchwork with wonderful motifs and an older cloth we used to be used. I would really request all the teachers to now today when you go back to your school and after the training gets over, just think about how you can include these things in your classroom. How can you teach recycling, sustainability, upcycling to your students through these traditional textiles? Because we have lot of emphasis on traditional textiles, and a lot of other projects are made using textiles and ancient knowledge of India. So why not this? Create something new. So as I am finishing off my sessions, I would now talk about creating an activity for sustainable fashion. So how are you going to integrate this thing with your project work? Can I have some answers on the YouTube so that I can also feel that we are in sync with each other? Okay, so Abhi said, I was a sari label, started to help women and recycle saris. Yes, very true, Sayedji. I agree with you. But today I was not talking about individual efforts or organizations, because I feel that has been taken very well with by Gagan and Mona ma'am. So I am not talking about that. We are just focusing on school level. How are we going to teach this to our children? So, can I have some replies, please? I really would love to know how will you bring in integrating sustainability with your project work, and it doesn't have to be fashion. It really doesn't have to be fashion. Um, See, if you integrate sustainability with fashion or with some other subject, you can have economics a part of it. You can find out how or how what it costs to actually recycle a product. So that can become a part of economics also. So you can have a lot of integrated project work at your school level. I'm waiting for some replies, and I would really request you to please send. Okay, Sali ji has said, my students are stitching home fashion products and school stationeries using old clothes. Very good indeed, Shalini ji. Krishna ji, I'm so proud of you. Shilpi Sethi is saying, ask them to create a product with upcycling. Yes, you can do that. And while upcycling, you can also help them understand the traditional arts of India. You can ask them to make a kanta embroidered motif, because that is also a part of teaching of students, right? You make small swatches of these things. You can easily integrate these with you can use such recycled clothing for making such, embroidered designs. Abhita ji is saying, I have done a workshop, rejected jeans and made 15 products, ma'am. Very nice, ma'am. Abhita ji, you please stay in contact. Next time I'll definitely call you to showcase your products. We can ask our children to find scrap fabric pieces and ask them to create something new out of it. Right, Anshika ji? Definitely you can do dyeing old t-shirts to rewear. Definitely, and you can also have, you can align it with a lot of your traditional textiles as well, and you can also put it with your maths also and economics also, and chemistry also can be taught through dyeing. It's such a wonderful subject, fashion. My students recreated their denim jackets with embroidery to give it a new look. Shreyasi ji, very nice efforts. Jewelry can also be made out of left out swatches. Very nice, Abhita ji. We at DPS Ghaziabad created a project with religious fabric waste, Mata ki chunni, turned into products like tops, skirts, portly. Absolutely fantastic. I'm so proud that you people are doing your bit for upcycling products. But now I would really request you to now go for creation of products which are creating designs for disassembly projects, like the one I showed you with shoes. You can also ask your children to now create a product which have multiple uses. Instead, apart from recycling, upcycling and involving your traditional embroideries or traditional knowledge, you can also ask them to create something new. Even one product, if a class creates, just imagine the kind of a creative fervor you're going to put into the minds of children. So I would request you please go back, ask them to create designs for disassembly products. Let's see how it happens and how work it goes. So here I have put up a small project on sustainable fashion, which you can start from very low, from very young children, not for 11th and 12th, but younger. Calculating your wardrobe. This is for personal, Ask the children to go back and understand what is sustainability. So just ask them to go back and calculate your wardrobe. What do you find in your wardrobe? These can be the questions you can ask. Were you surprised by any item you found? Which items of clothing do you wear most and why? Of course, they will say it will be the school dress, but other than school dress, what is it that they wear most? Which items do you rarely or never wear? Because they will definitely going to be items they will never use. And why? Why do you think so many clothes are produced? And why you have purchased so many clothes? These small questions will put into their minds into thinking. So you are actually giving them experiential learning. This is an experiential learning project for fashion where you first talk them, give them this activity for school, let them come back with answers, discuss, talk about the topic, and then tell them what you need to do next is minimalistic wardrobe. Go for a minimalistic wardrobe. So I move on to my next slide. This I found on the net, and I thought it is such a wonderful school project. This is done in Nigeria. What they have done is they have made a foldable stool which saved almost 107 pure water sachets ending into landfills and oceans. So these are pure water sachets that you get, small pockets, pouches of water. People drink it and throw it. So they have collected this, and then they have, when they were weaving it, they created into yarn. 90% was plastic and 10% was textile waste. How wonderful! Textile waste, not virgin textile. And they have woven into this foldable stool, they have woven this particular part of the woven school. So I remember when I was in college, we had practicals on looms. I wonder how many schools do have looms. If you don't have, then you have those toys of looms, so you can create a loom, and you can go for something like this, where when we are making swatches and all, we have lot of wastage. We have lot of katran. Those can be taken together, created into a yarn, and this can be used. Plastic can be used for one side and yarn on the other side. Create something new, some new type of fabric will come out, and you will actually be saving so much of plastic from going into land waste. This again is based on our ancient, this I read once in very old ancient text, where we used to have cache kambals. I don't know if you would have heard about it or not. You can put it on the chat box. I will definitely see it. Cache kambals were basically, cache means hair. So people in those times, because wool was so costly and it was so cold in northern India, they used to collect hair and they used to weave it into kambal, and then they used to wear those in winters. And this knowledge, ancient knowledge of ours, has been now taken by a designer in Dutch, Dutch designer, where she has turned human hair into fabric and has introduced a new possibility of sustainable fabric. See, imagine we already had this knowledge. So Amsterdam-based designer had created different kinds of textures and patterns using fabric from human hair. Something we just comb our hair and throw it. We never see that hair is a fiber in itself, and such a strong fiber. So I would now, request you all. You can also think about these lines when you're using looms. This is my last slide. I really liked it, so I placed it because, when we talk of sustainability, we talk about dyeing, printing, garments, but we forget the main part of it, that is fasteners. And we never speak that fasteners may also be requiring a change in their material, because most of them are either plastic, or when we go for higher end, then it's ivory, beads, a lot of shells and everything is used, but we never think that even buttons need to be changed if you are talking about sustainability. So before that, I move on to this palette. This is a beautiful palette, because a lot of people says that you cannot get good dye colors from vegan sources or biodegradable dyes. So this is a palette that is made out of waste from forest and food industries, which have been acted upon by microbes, and then they have produced such wonderful hues of color, such wonderful. And beneath this, I have put the fashion buttons, because buttons is something we all need in a garment for fastening it. So now, how that has been made vegan? This is a beautiful story of people using Ecuadorian ivory palm pods, which are grown, and these pods are eaten by the ants. So they are just, when they are ready to be harvested, ants eat the shells of the seeds, leaving the inner part of the seeds ready for harvest. So these are Ecuadorian ivory palms, and once they are ready to be harvested, they are put into the sun to be dried. They are peeled, sliced, and put into the shape of buttons, small buttons, if you could see. And then these buttons are dyed with organic vegetable dyes. So, how wonderfully people are working to create sustainable fashion. And once the garment is thrown, I'm sure the beads will go back into the earth without creating much of carbon footprints, and without and then decompose. And maybe, when it is a completely organic material, you can have a lot of farming on that, on the top of that soil. So it is actually a very good fertilizer also. So yes, Shreyasi has said coconut shell buttons. Definitely, coconut shell buttons are there. And today, I think Gagan has also showed something with coconut. So yes, we are. Yes, t-shirts are made from recycled plastics, Riazji, and this is something, when I was in college, the whole process of PET bottles or plastic bottles to be converted into PET, polyethylene terephthalate, that is a plastic, and then or polyester, and then they were woven with the fabrics. But the whole point is, we really don't want more of the plastic in clothing, because somewhere it does hurt our skin and our health. So we are going for more of biodegradable substances. Okay, a lot of people are talking about, we are using old clothes, Bhavna ji, in creative way, like designs out of checks or stripe piece of materials to make new products. Lot of people are doing upcycling. I know that. I really know that a lot of people are using chocolate wrappers and worn out denims to make accessories and old fabrics. I know that is upcycling or recycling. But from now on, we are going to tell our children to design for disassembly. We are going to tell them to create designs which are completely sustainable. That is, when you throw them into the waste, it decomposes. So this is sustainability. Anything that you throws away will not end up in a landfill, but will get decomposed and degraded, and then a new thing can be grown on top of it. That is the day when we can say that fashion has become sustainable. So, with this, I bid my thanks to all of you for being such a patient listener. I am moving back to my Gmeet, and now I am requesting you, if you could please come up with your questions. I'm reading it on the YouTube. Okay. And if there are any questions or suggestions, you can please tell me. We spoke about sustainability in a complete way, and I would also ask you if you have any takeaways from this session, and what will you be doing when you go back to your classes, to your students? How will you describe them? So my eyes are on the YouTube link, YouTube chat, so please come up with anything and everything you feel like saying. Thank you so much. If you have liked my presentation, I can see it on the YouTube link. Thank you. But my endeavor will actually be successful when you can bring in sustainability in your schools. So one of the major ways is to reduce our wastage, and wastage from making lot of, we make lot of small swatches of everything, small patterns, some small designs. So all that is left, that is waste, if you can reuse it, be it paper waste or fabric waste or thread waste, I think then only we can say that this presentation has made a dent on the understanding of everyone. Okay, so thank you so much, Abhita ji. Rajendra Kaur is saying that we have created dress out of newspaper for our fashions, but ma'am, after the fashion show, what have you done with those dresses? That is sustainability. If you can use that dresses for something, because newspaper, after all, is a paper, right? You cannot wear it on a daily basis. So somewhere you have created a fast fashion. Just think about it. Okay, a lot of people are thanking. Thank you so much for being so patient. I'm just looking for some questions in the chat box. And if new people have joined who have not taken fashion studies as a course in their school and they wish to start fashion studies, then there is a small, process of registering yourself. All the vocational courses that are offered or skill courses offered by CBSE is free of cost. There is no affiliation amount to it. So what you can do is you can go onto the CBSE website. I'll just try to open the CBSE website parallelly, and if it works, then I can show how you can get more information on registering yourself for the course and presenting my screen. This is a CBSE website. I've gone on the academic website. You can go on to the skill education that is here. And this site has all the information that you require, including the curriculums, the sample papers, the content, everything is here on this site. And if you want to introduce your course, here it is. For class 6 to 8, this is the form you have to fill. For class 9th and 10th, this is the form, and 11th and 12th, this is the form. Since fashion studies is being offered in class 11th and 12th, this is the form you need to fill up. You can give your preferences, and you can also say when you're starting with the course. Rest or everything is available on the net, and if you feel like, you can talk to your management and do fill this form. So I am stopping sharing my content. So this is a very easy process to enroll yourself for the course. Thank you so much, all. Himanshi ji, thank you so much. You have said that you will definitely use the brilliant idea of DFD. I would definitely love to see what your students have created, because as designers ourselves, we can also do that. So let the entrepreneur skills get out, and let us also make something that we can use, reuse, and recycle. Okay. So since I'm not getting much of the questions on the YouTube, I think we can all end the session. After the session, you will get the assessment link on your attendance email. But please make sure there are two, three things through which we are only going to be, accepting assessments or certifying the fashion studies teacher. Firstly, if you have filled your assessment, that doesn't, you will get your, you have filled your attendance, you will get your assessment link. But assessment link also has will be only valid for fashion studies teacher. So in case you are not a fashion studies teacher and still you fill up the assessment form, we will not accept it. You will have to have an attendance filled up so that we can send you an assessment. Assessment has to be done by the fashion studies teacher, and it has to be done for all the 3 days. So after that, we will collate your data, and then you will get your certification. So with this, I am calling off the session. Since the YouTube is little lagging behind, so I'm just switching off. Thank you all for being such a patient listener. And sustainability is something which we all should follow, not only for fashion but in all our daily lives. So with this, I thank you all and good day. We'll meet tomorrow at 10.